this is what really boggles my mind too. This is a mystery that I'm still working out with the Father, is how do you perceive all the different potentials at one time? You manage all the choices. You know exactly which choices they're going to make. How do you manage all of that? Just a little more personal, I was dating another girl and we were quasi engaged. I had dreams and everything about this girl and her name and everything before I ever met her. And then I met her and this is it. Yahweh's word is coming to pass and da-da-da-da. And it just blew up. And I'm like scratching my head after a huge emotional roller coaster. How do you manage people's future with them being sovereign and making the choices? And to do that times a billion, 7 billion, 8 billion. How do you do that? I don't get it. This is beyond my capacity right now to understand how you can, and this is where faith comes in and say, I just trust you. I made that choice. I leaned into you. You said this was going to happen. It didn't happen. Partly because the other person involved, the other sovereign being involved decided not to go down that road. And I've got friends, plenty of friends who've had prophetic words. You're going to do this, this, and this. And it required other people to be involved. And those people chose not to be involved in that pathway. And what do you do with the prophetic word? These people standing there just dumbfounded, like, were you a liar then? Did you not see this? And yet you said this, and that dealing with that prophetic word in a quantum entanglement with somebody who chooses to break that entanglement and do something else, it really works on the faith of someone. It works on my faith. Fortunately, I had a grounded relationship with my Father, even before I had all this revelation that said, you know what, I don't understand, but I've thrown my hat into the ring in this with you. And no matter if I get all this wrong, if I was wrong, you're wrong, or who's wrong, I'm still going to follow you, because there's nowhere else there's life or freedom but with you. And that was the thing I had to fall back onto in that circumstance, because I had come to the end of my ability to understand how to navigate the sovereignty of individuals, in the midst of the context of Yahweh speaking into my future. Because I'm on an isolated island. I'm not by myself. I'm not running this course by myself. I'm running a community. And he's speaking about my future in the mix of a relationship with a community of people. And each one of those people could at any moment decide to jump ship and go a different route and act contrary to what sounds like we're supposed to be doing as a prophetic people, and where he's taken it. And yet that's still in the mix. That's still an option. That's scary for people that have a hard time understanding the all powerful Yahweh or Father. Like the old good Christian saying, he's always in control. Oh, don't worry about it. He's in control. Yeah? Sure don't feel like it right now. Maybe you're the one in control and you're screwing it up. I mean, there's something to sovereignty. This is the paradox of the all-knowing, all-powerful Father, all figure that's over everything, and everything is in him. And yet he says, this little bit right here, I've chosen not to have control over, and I've given it to you. Okay, how does that work in an all-powerful, all-knowing Father who, this is why he's amazing at playing chess, the game of humanity, because he knows how to navigate even those areas that sovereignty in mankind says no. And he's like, okay, I know how to deal with that. That is an amazing thing that always, it just astounds me at the goodness of my Father, that he has no issue with man's sovereignty. We have issue with man's sovereignty. He doesn't. And because we have issue with it, because we can't control other people, although we want to, he's like, no big deal. And we want, because if you can't control people, then your world will always be unsettled unless you're standing inside of him and the rest, right? Because People are going to always screw up, and I got to control their screw ups because the world will go to hell in a handbasket if we don't do A, B, and C. And yet, I mean, how many times Father comes back and he said, dude, just chill. If I ain't ruffled, my feathers aren't ruffled about this, why should yours? I've got more years and more people to deal with in their sovereignty than you do. And I'm not bent out of shape. So just let me help you. Just rest in me, walk this beach with me, and I'll deal with the sovereignty in someone else's. But that's the beauty. This is the beauty of, the reason of sovereignty, as far as he's taught me, is he doesn't want robots. He wants beings that choose him. He didn't say perfectly even. He said, I'll give you perfect. I'll give you perfection. You can't provide I don't really want perfection from you. I'll give you my perfection. What I want is loyalty. I want people who, with their sovereign choice, will turn into me gladly and joyfully, and come into relationship with me and create with me out of that sovereignty. That's the beauty of the gift of sovereignty that he doesn't give to the rest of creation, that he's given to mankind. And yet it is also the stumbling block of mankind. And yet he was willing to make that choice because the value, the end result that he would have sovereign sons who choose him at the end of the day was worth going to fisticuffs with humanity at different stages of its development, to be able to endure and long suffer like he has, like they have. To me, that endears me to him that much more. I know for some people that struggle with it, they have a hard time wrestling with it because it in their mind sets up a weak God, a power like, oh, he's not all powerful anymore. For me, it's like you're actually more powerful than you realize, because now I'm tying my hands behind my back and I'm still going to beat you. So, but it's endearing to me because he says, I'm willing to endure this for that result, for your heart, your loyal heart, in its imperfection and its brokenness, still to turn in. And I always, again, the flannel board David has long left the building. This man was crazy, wild redhead, had trouble with his brothers, had trouble with all sorts of people. And yet his heart, and even though his whole life, he's making these massive mistakes, murdering people, stealing from people. This is King David, the man after Yahweh's heart. Why? Because his heart was loyal. And all of his brokenness and mistakes, Yahweh gave him sovereignty to make choices, but at the end of the day, it was because of his loyalty to him that he was able to call him a man after my own heart. That as a poster child for all of humanity, sovereign individuals who have a heart of loyalty towards him, he can do amazing things for them.